Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be doing a video here on diving in Telford. Just gearing up in the morning here. Just drove down from Ohio, going to get in the water, checking it out. A couple of the locals said that it was brown just a couple of days ago. So I went over and took a look at it, and it looked like it was clearing up pretty good from the surface. So we're gearing up. I grabbed a deco bottle just in case, but for the most part, I'm planning on just making it a very simple dive. Just got my two primary side mount tanks is what I'm planning on using, and probably only going like 1,000 feet in or something like that. So it's not too much of a hike to get over there. There's some changing of hands of the land use, and I think there was a little bit of confusion. So when watching this video, don't assume that if you go to this area that land use is going to be the same in the near future. But went ahead and kitted up, got in. So you can see the water's cleared up a lot compared to what the reports were a couple of days ago, but there's still definitely a little bit of murkiness. These are freshwater springs in Florida. They are oftentimes crystal clear, like drinkable water. And what we're seeing right now is I tied off a primary line, and that allows me that safety as I go in, and in these caves and stuff, conditions can dramatically change in the blink of an eye. And when that happens, you've got to make sure that you've got a way to find your exit. And one of the simplest ways to do that is to just have a reel, like you can see in my hand there, tie it off outside of the cave, and then go into the cave. We do one more secondary tie off just inside the overhead, just to kind of add that extra little bit of safety in there. Make sure that the primary tie off isn't messed with and gets us screwed over or anything. But once that's done, you can run that into the cave. If it's a previously explored cave, a lot of times there's a line permanently left in it. We call that the gold line. It's just kind of the standard. But so here I found the gold line. That's just a little bit inside the cave, tying off my reel to it. And then you'll see I grab a marker, and it's called a cookie or a non-directional marker. And when I place that on the line, that's just kind of shows attendance. It says I'm in the cave, and as long as that marker is still there, I have not exited. So obviously I sped this video up, and I think it was like 3 times speed. So you can see a little bit more of the cave that way without having to watch it for too terribly long. I cut out a lot of this video. I was in the water for about an hour and a half actually in the cave. Lots of great formations here in this particular cave. I love it. There's ups and downs. There's some places that are like Swiss cheese that you can just kind of meander all throughout. But what you just saw there was actually a window up into the forest. There was a little sink up there. Moving on into the cave, as you're watching the screen, you'll notice, see there on the right side, there's a line. I'm following that line the entire time. If I leave the line, I make sure I take my own line with me. But there's some arrows along the line that point towards the exit. Just in case any disorientation happens, it's easier to know which way to go on the line. So there's another one. This one actually has a distance written on it. If you look real quick, it said 500 feet. So playing around with my new camera mount on my helmet, trying to set it down, see if I can get some good footage going through. I need a lot better lighting, but that was kind of cool. I got a few more of those put in here. But you can see that all kinds of little tunnels and stuff. I'm kind of sticking with the one that the lines run through, but you could just meander back and forth all throughout those. A couple of spots through here are very rocky bottom. But a few of the spots have very silty bottom, like you can see right here. So this is another line indicator that we look for. They're called jumps. When I have 2 of those exit arrows put right there next to each other, it means that there's a side passage that has a separate line somewhere in there. So I treat this kind of like the open water. I tie off to it, I put my little attendance marker, and then I run in until I hit that gold line. And that way, if everything goes south and I can't see and I need to find my way out in a hurry, I can just follow that line. And I put my attendance marker on the exit side so that I can tell which direction to go even if I can't see and I have no idea where I'm at. But I followed that into a little side passage. It's got a bunch of cool little features in here. Look at that. That goes way up. I don't even know that. There's probably some little karst windows up in the forest floor or something up there if you were to go around and poke around. But so notice the current. And I know this is sped up, but you can see the particulate in the water flowing. There's a decent amount of current, and you got to really keep kicking the whole time on the way in. I started out swimming against the current, so I'm going slow and having to work with my body positioning and use those frog kicks so I don't muck up the bottom. If you touch that bottom even a little bit, it kind of mucks it up real fast. So on the way in, it's a fight, but on the way out, it is a lazy river ride. All you got to do is make sure you're watching those turns real close. Side note on that little clip you just saw, side mounts is awesome. Some of those little flat areas you can fit through so much better with that side mount rig on. Looking at all the limestone formations, notice some of those bubbles on the ceiling. So this is on the exit. So I'm actually moving a good bit faster. Notice the arrows are in the same direction as me now. There they are. I went in a little over 1,000 feet, about 1,100 feet. Never ended up building up any deco, so I didn't end up needing that oxygen tank, so that was nice. Recollected my spool, made it back out. All those bubbles are really cool, how they work like a mirror. So I will get better lighting in the future. There we go. You always have to poke your head up into these and look around. You might see something cool like an alligator or something. Came up underneath the one time and scared it. And whee! See how you can just glide on the way out. You don't have to kick as much. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. Look at that. Oh, but is it the light? It's not. See, it's important to have a line. There's other exits, and I guess those would get you out, but grab my oxygen tank there that I had set just in case. Didn't end up needing it. But keep on following the line, and that gets you back out to the place where you went in, and that way it's easier to get back to your car. So take a second to unhook my spool. If there's an emergency, you just leave all your stuff in the cave except for your attendance marker, and you follow it and get your way out of there. As long as there's no emergency, I don't like leaving hundreds of dollars worth of spools and cookies and stuff like that in the cave, so we take the time, unclip it, reel it all in, heading out to that little light at the end of the tunnel, unhooking that secondary tie-off right there, and then going up towards that primary tie-off. You got to be careful not to get pushed out too fast by the current. You got to move slowly when you're going up and down in the water column. And this is definitely one of those times where if you get pushed up too fast after having been underwater for an hour and a half, it can cause some problems with the nitrogen in your body. So you go slow. Bump my helmet into that rock a couple of times there. But coming on back up, saw a little bit of wildlife, including this Florida cooter. Last couple of videos, it had a weird setting because I was using my different GoPro. But long story short, it was a great dive. I appreciate you for coming along, and please subscribe and or just like the video, and I'll bring more to you in the future.